Say that Julio Rodriguez is back yet, but he did have two extra base hits today, a double and a home run in the Mariners' 7-3 win over the Baltimore Orioles. I scored the game, but in the 4th of July nonsense, I've managed to lose it. I did post the picture on Instagram and on the r/baseball scorecard subreddit, so if you want to look there. Um, Interesting game today. Bryce Miller gave up a lot of hits, but not many runs. Bryce Miller went 5 1/3, gave up 2 runs on 8 hits, and it was on a Gunnar Henderson home run. Two, and honestly, Gunnar Henderson is basically second in Major League Baseball in all of the categories to Aaron Judge, so it's not the end of the world. Then Julio came up, bottom five, nobody on, nobody out. Awesome one. Then the Mariners managed to load up the bases. Ryan Bliss came up, hadn't played in about 2.5 weeks, and he unfortunately grounded into a double play that ended up scoring a run. So he did not get credit for an RBI there, which is unfortunate, but that's how it goes. Mariners left a couple in scoring position with 2 outs. Luke Raley and J.P. Crawford grounded into one double play, went 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position, and left only two of our 10 runners that we had today on base. One got erased in a double play. That's why. The Orioles left a bunch in scoring position. 1, 2, 3, 4. It went into a double play. Left 7 on base. Went 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. 10 hits, 2 walks. 12 base runners. We had 7 hits, 3 walks. We had 11 strikeouts. They had 11 strikeouts. And honestly, 11 strikeouts against Corbin Burnes, that's not bad. That's really not bad. Corbin Burnes is probably going to be the all-star starter for the American League this season. And it's one of those things where you just got to tip your cap. And we got to him. We got a couple of runs off him, um, which allowed us to actually have a really good game. I enjoyed that game. Mitch Garver came in and he hit a home run, which was awesome. It was a 2-run homer. Mitch Garver hadn't hit a home run since June. Julio hadn't hit a home run since June, which obviously I know it's the 4th, but it was early June where it might as well have been May. And been working on trying to make sure we've got those guys just getting their hits, and everybody contributed in some way, offensively, defensively, just everybody contributed, and then we got the big hits, timely hitting. We got timely hitting and big hits. That was the combination of them. The big hits, the home runs, absolutely wonderful, but the timely hitting, getting people on base and you getting a hit, moving the train along, helps it go so much easier. Because if you have runners at first, second, and third, runners at every base with nobody out, you're going to have such an easier time scoring runs. Yeah, you can, Noble Tiger, but we actually haven't done that this season, as far as I know. We may have done it once this season, but from what I remember, we have not Noble Tigered at all this season. And now we are just sitting here. Still got a 2-game lead over the Astros, who won today. Unfortunately, the Astros won today over Toronto, but that does help us in another way, because as Toronto spirals, we have more of a chance of potentially having Toronto trade somebody like Vlad Guerrero Jr. to us, and we play them for a 3-game set this weekend. It was such a good game. Julio coming out and getting that home run, he looked so happy. But the problem with that afterwards was in the next inning, he made a great diving catch. Basically, he went up, got the ball, wasn't really diving, but jump catch and landed on his wrist. And unfortunately, he had what I thought was an injury. Trainer came out, checked on him, but he stayed in the game. He was all right, and it ended up working out really good for us because he came back in. Next hit bat hit a double, so 6 bases for Julio today, which these were his first 2 extra base hits in his last 15 games, which is a long time for Julio. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, but is Julio a superstar? Is Julio a superstar? And I'm like, nah, he hasn't played like a superstar, but Julio is a second half player. And I am excited to see what Julio might be able to do over the next half of the season. I don't think he's making the All Star team. I don't think he's getting into the home run derby this season, but what I do think is going to happen is he's going to continue working with the hitting coaches. It's with Edgar. He's been working with the Mariners hitting coach, Edgar, and the personal hitting coach that he uh, has. They've all been working with him lately, and it looks like it's paying off. So if Julio can keep hitting like that, now I understand everybody has a slump here and there. Everybody has a slump here and there. And if he never has a slump again, that would just be amazing. But he'll have a slump. Aaron Judge had a slump at the beginning of the season. I don't think Julio's going to get into a MVP consideration unless he goes on a tear and hits like 70 home runs in the second half with 150 RBIs and slugs 1,100, 1,200. But I think knowing that the slow start probably costs him MVPs and MVP share, which is eventually going to cost him money, is going to be an issue. Now, a lot of Mariners fans were complaining that the starting pitching on this team is going to eventually want to leave, which, yeah, in free agency, I could see some of them leaving, but the Mariners are really good at developing pitching. Now, unfortunately, we're not very good at developing hitting yet. If we can develop pitching and hitting, this team is going to be unstoppable. Well, over 162 games, not over a single game sample size. We went 2-4 against the Orioles this year. Next year we'll see them 4 times in Seattle, 3 times in Baltimore. So wonderful team to play. Wonderful to get the win. Still the only team in Major League Baseball that hasn't been swept. The 11 strikeouts does put us at 912 strikeouts for the year, which is a problem. It's still a problem. But if we can get the bloops and blasts and have the strikeouts not happen at untimely times, maybe work on cutting them down a little bit, we're still on pace to break the record by about 10. Which is held by last year's Twins. Actually cut down strikeouts. The strikeouts are not good. The Mariners need to work on the strikeouts. It's one of those things where you hope it works out, but half the time it doesn't. And when it doesn't, you end up looking foolish. And when the Mariners come up to the plate and strike out, they look foolish. I mean, even Ohtani looks foolish when he strikes out on 3 pitches, but the Mariners so frequently are able to come up and strike out on 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pitches. I think one of our strikeouts was on 15 plus pitches. I'll have to look on StatHead again. But that helps. Going through those pitchers and getting to the bullpen helps, and that's something that helped today. Corbin Burns only went 6. And then they're, actually, it's 5 2/3, I think. I don't exactly remember. Let me pull it up. No, Burns went 6, Baker went 2/3, and then Aiken went 1 1/3 for 8 because they didn't pitch the bottom of the ninth because you were up by 4, which was awesome. It was just awesome that we got to the bullpen with potentially 3 innings left to go ahead and try to win the game. So that's what you need to do. If you can get the guy out before the 6th, the 5th, you're going to have a chance at the bullpen, and a lot of times managers will take a bullpen guy and only let him out there for 1 inning. And when they do that, you're having a lot better time against him. So the Mariners are working, and then when they get the pitch count up, it's good. And I'm okay with striking out on 10 pitches, because that's 3 balls and 7, 8 strikes, 10 plus pitches. So like it's one of those things where it's like you feel like it's not good, but it's okay. The strikeouts annoy me, but a lot of the times our strikeouts are strikeouts that we can overcome. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another Mariners video. Sports predictions will be up at some point. Cubs play at 2:20 tomorrow, so I'll probably do it tonight. And I might have a video about Boogie because he's within 100 miles of me right now.